everyone, this is Kai Magulo, aka Poindexta, and after years and years of development hell and a lot of patience and support from comic book fans everywhere, Deadpool has finally been made into a movie. So I'm not going to give away any big spoilers or anything, but what I can tell you is this: Deadpool is bloody fantastic. But before we get to my review of the film itself, here's a quick rundown of the titular Merc with a Mouth and his place in comic book legacy. Originally created by Rob Liefeld, the character of Deadpool, real name Wade Wilson, made his first appearance in the Marvel Universe way back in 1991, and was initially just your average killer mutant with regenerative healing factor and a master swordsman and marksman. It was a few years later, once he received his own ongoing series, that Deadpool gained a cult following for his chatterbox personality and tendency to break the fourth wall. Not to mention that the idea of a happy-go-lucky assassin who shoots people while making wisecracks is a thing of black comedy beauty. He's also one of my favourite Marvel characters because underneath all the wit and craziness lies a deep and tragic figure with a fuck ton of issues, who often uses jokes to mask the sadness in his life and all the mistakes he's made, which is what makes him even more likeable and nuanced compared to most anti-heroes out there. And clearly a lot of people agree with me, because this Deadpool movie has been in the works for 11 years. Up until now, the closest thing we even got to a big screen appearance of Deadpool was in X-Men Origins Wolverine, which was bad, to say the least. But it's now 7 years later, 2016, and it looks like that a proper, respectful Deadpool movie has at long last arrived with thunderous applause. At least if early reviews and my own personal bias are of any indication. So what's this film about? Wade Wilson was once an outrageous, smart-mouthed mercenary for hire, living a happy life with his equally outrageous and smart-mouthed girlfriend named Vanessa, until one day he's diagnosed with every kind of cancer ever, and seeing no hope for his future, agrees to undergo some experimental treatment run by a shady organisation, which leads to him being horribly tortured, disfigured and left for dead by the villainous Ajax. However, Wade manages to survive all this thanks to his newly granted rapid healing factor and super strength, and from there on out devotes his new lease of life into getting revenge and winning back his girlfriend under the new identity of Deadpool. And fortunately, he's not alone. Joining Deadpool in his cinematic debut are his best buddy Weasel, X-Men alumni Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and an old blind lady called Blind Owl. This cast of characters is just as awesome as you can imagine. Armed with a pair of razor-sharp katanas and an even sharper tongue, Deadpool is able to hack, slash and wisecrack his way out of obstacles with non-stop violent glee. But will that be enough to stop Ajax, reunite with Vanessa, and prove that despite appearances, he really is a hero? With DC and Warner Brothers' Batman vs Superman, Marvel Studios' Captain America Civil War, and Fox's X-Men Apocalypse all being released this year, you'd be forgiven in thinking that the market for superhero films is already pretty oversaturated. And in a way, Deadpool agrees with you, because not only does the film itself joke about how common and formulaic the superhero movie is, but it also attempts to combine a mishmash of wildly different genres. Deadpool is part comedy, part action revenge film, part love story, and it all works. You wouldn't think that such a highly anticipated film, prepared to face a lot of scrutiny among fans if it fucks up in any way, would be able to pull off a story that heads down so many different directions without being overcomplicated or alienating the viewers, but somehow it does. To add an extra miracle to the mix, Deadpool marks the directing debut of Tim Miller, who had previously worked on the opening sequences for films such as The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo and For the Dark World. And his creative side really shows on screen, because he clearly understands both what looks good and how everything in a film needs to be fit together, that only someone with experience in visual effects and an eye for good design can properly execute, in my opinion. And so I'm looking forward to seeing more of Tim Miller's work in the future. The cast in this film is fantastic. Wade Wilson is of course played by Ryan Reynolds, who also happens to be the movie's executive producer. And to be honest, this guy was practically made to play Deadpool. He has the right amount of charm and humour and likeability, and he doesn't come across as too obnoxious, even when 90% of his dialogue consists of very crude and offensive humour. But even that aspect of the world of Deadpool is handled well. After all, he's an unusual guy with an unusual life who lives in a world where death and craziness is all the norm. So you gotta laugh sometimes, right? And thankfully, the dark humour of the original comics does show up in the film, and it translates hilariously. I read somewhere that apparently Deadpool is the first R-rated superhero film to be released in a very long time, and I gotta say, it makes the most of that rating. There are a lot of bloody fight scenes and gruesome deaths, but it's all portrayed in a very cartoonish, itchy and scratchy type of way, which makes its gratuitousness all the more fun to watch. For example, there's a scene where Deadpool is handcuffed over a bridge and he escapes by slicing his own hand off, and it's brilliant. Unexpected, yet brilliant, which sums up the character well. But of course, there's more to Deadpool than just violence and comedy, and this is shown through his interactions with the supporting cast. The two mutants that appear in this film, Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead, make a good counterbalance to Wade's morally ambiguous ways, as they try to convince him to clean up his act and possibly join the X-Men, whose suspicious absence in the movie, which has nothing to do with conflicted studio rights whatsoever, does get briefly mentioned in one of the funniest fourth wall jokes. Especially standing out is Negasonic Teenage Warhead, who's a girl of few words but awesome powers, and newcomer Brianna Hildebrand gives a promising performance while managing to hold her own in a big Hollywood blockbuster. The CGI on Colossus was surprisingly good and barely noticeable throughout the film. This is something that most action movies reliant on computer-generated effects have a hard time achieving, so it's a relief that the CGI in Deadpool is used somewhat sparsely because it allows us to focus more on the story. Even the main villains are also pretty enjoyable. Ajax is played by Ed Skrein, who in my opinion comes very close to stealing the spotlight from Ryan Reynolds. He is such a smug and arrogant piece of shit in every scene that he's in that he's actually very fun to watch, which in turn makes him an appropriate villainous foil to Deadpool. His henchwoman, Angel, is just as enjoyably malicious, and knowing that the actress who plays her is a real-life martial artist makes her fight scenes even cooler to watch. All in all, a damn fine cast. However, that's not where Deadpool's strength lies. The backstory of Wade Wilson, as told through flashbacks, is oddly enough the best and the most heartwarming thing about the film, especially when we see the relationship between him and Vanessa. It doesn't go down a predictable schmaltzy path, and in fact feels very realistic. Wade's love for his girlfriend is the incentive for the dangerous roads that he sets himself upon, because they're both very similar people, and as he so eloquently puts it, your crazy matches my crazy. Deadpool is 100% a love story, in the same way that Shaun of the Dead was also a love story. Sure, the setting that the romance takes place in may not be the most conventional, and yet that emotional core remains the most important part of the film, even amidst all the bloodshed and humour. Because you like Deadpool so much, you want to see him take down the bad guys, and you want to see him finally be happy with Vanessa, which makes him a very human character, to me at least. Now, like I mentioned earlier, this movie has been in the works for a frustratingly long time. Deadpool was in development hell for over a decade, constantly flip-flopping between different producers without really going anywhere, and the huge fan outcry after his portrayal in X-Men Origins Wolverine didn't exactly help things either. In fact, the main reason why this film managed to even get made at all was because of the Deadpool fandom itself, which includes the character's actor Ryan Reynolds, who were extremely vocal in their support for a big screen adaptation that treated the character with respect to the source material and with love. And as both a Deadpool fan and a fan of comic book movies in general, it gives me great joy to sit here and say that this was worth the wait. Deadpool is an exciting, fast-paced sucker punch of fun, being both an incredibly faithful depiction of one of the most popular comic book characters in recent years, as well as a flawlessly entertaining popcorn flick for casual moviegoers. It may not be an Oscar-winning masterpiece, and it's definitely not a film for the whole family, but in a way, that's what makes it so cool. It knows who its real audience is, it knows exactly what they want to see, but above all, it knows how to combine the right amount of off-the-wall mayhem with a multi-layered plot and well-written character development, and the end result is pure cinematic goodness. Deadpool was so awesome, so funny, it had so much heart and violence in it. It might be too early to call Deadpool the best movie of 2016, but I have to admit in all honesty that it was probably the most engaging and enjoyable film to have come out this year so far, and that's more than enough for me. Be sure to like and comment on this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already, and follow me on all appropriate social media sites. I'm still really busy working on my reviews at the moment, and I will keep you updated on that by around March, so there's still quite a long way to go. But until then, bye!